Hello and welcome to episode 100 of Nintendo Therapy, a show about
Woo.
the latest Nintendo news and rumors, as well as a celebration of all the things Nintendo. My name is Kevin, and gentlemen, I am not usually one for celebrating milestones, but there's something I'd like to mention about this being our 100th episode. Shawn and we started this podcast way back when because we had a conversation during a different podcast about how we were both like super into Nintendo right now. And we talked about if we start a Nintendo podcast, it feels like there's something going on, something in the air right now, and they're probably announcing their new system any second. So if we do a Nintendo podcast, we can follow the rumors, follow the reveal, look at the launch. It'll be really cool. Here we are 100 episodes later, and we still don't have any official news on the Switch 2. Not a single official confirmed thing other than uh, it will be
Backwards
announced by first quarter next year.
backwards compatible.
But,
It's
oh,
like
they
it's like the
No,
announced that
only
officially?
that's
Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
You're right.
yeah,
but
that's
it's not
it.
because the official announce date's not even really official.
No,
So we've gotten tons of content out of it.
Yeah.
It's like it's like we're just like any other Nintendo YouTuber at this point. Like just we talk about any kind of rumor that might come up during that week. But I mean, I'm so happy for us guys. I mean, I joined on like episode 10 or something like that. Um,
hey, you
and,
you've done more than me, so kudos, sir. So
yeah, and I just like
It turns
I
out the real podcast is the friends we made along the way.
we learned a lesson. That's
yeah
Yeah.
nice.
yeah you only need to travel like 8,000 miles to find a good contributor slash co-host. Um,
Mm.
but but you found it all the way halfway across the world. So um, I'm not leaving.
No, it's been fun, and I've been waiting for Nintendo to like totally forget to release the system now.
No,
2025
they're in
rolls around,
production.
and
They're not going to forget the millions they spent on that.
Yeah, and there was even like a like photos that are like of a parent like leak, um, just like today, yesterday, depending on when we're recording this. But but yeah, and I even had a couple of rumors just for today on that exact topic. So I know that
oh
we're
yeah,
doing
that
things.
was funny. I was looking at that actually.
Yeah, I know we're doing things a little bit out of order. So Kevin, I'm not going to jump over that just yet, but that's for later. What are we starting with today?
Yeah, we should probably start with the spotlight games since we've got three of them to cover, and we're just doing cleanup on them.
I don't have
So
much to say on each, so I mean we could kind
I
of breeze
figured
through them.
that was going to be the case. Yeah, we can breeze through these. So today we are shining a spotlight on games we should have covered by now. The first one up is the Lost Levels, the original Super Mario Brothers 2, however you want to call it, was not released in North America until we got it on Super Mario All Stars. Um, I've always not liked this game very much. This is like trolling before there was a term for it. Like everything's a trap. I'm triggered, as the kids would say. Like there's I don't know. I think it's funny when you look up. I tried looking up like reviews for Lost Levels, and all I saw on YouTube were videos titled "Lost Levels is a bad game." So I'm not alone, at least.
I was kind of nice to it. I actually, if you want to do the ranking, I put it at number 30 because I just like the idea that they released a sequel that was a harder version of the game. Even though I can get to 2-2 and that's it. I can't navigate the making the block appear and then trying to jump on the pipe and the gap but I don't know. It has this soft spot for me. But I agree. It's insanely difficult.
Well,
Yeah,
that is something worth mentioning about it is like video game sequels were a very new concept at the time, especially for a home console game. And
Yeah.
obviously, like there was stuff on Atari, but like, did it really like relate? You had different lines and different dots. But yeah, it was like the prevailing thought at the time was basically like, oh well, if people want more of that first game, it's probably because they got really good at the first game, so we should
Yeah.
give them something even harder. And like so many NES sequels are just like ramp up that difficulty, like dial that notch up.
Yeah. So I'm curious because I'm sure we couldn't find reviews from the time, especially because it was a Japan only at the time. But I'm curious if there's like one kid whose dad had like business in the '80s and came back with a copy of it. So they were like the one kid in their neighborhood. The dog had it, apparently.
I'm sure there was. I've seen social media videos of people who like had like the Nintendo 64 ahead of time. They had like a Japanese Nintendo 64 before anybody else in North America, stuff like that. So those
So
people
there
are
must
out
have
there.
been one kid who had it, and everyone was like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
But I mean, I've always remembered the first time playing it and falling for the fake mushroom thing, and
Yeah,
I just kind of
yeah.
enjoyed that they were
I
like, "Hey,
honestly, I remember that too, and I remember thinking the game was glitched or something. I was like, this is broken. It's not supposed to kill you. What? Like, I could not wrap my head around the fact that they were intentionally killing me.
it's a little easier to discern in All Stars than the original game."
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Do you
I
have any love for Lost Levels, Harrison?
Yeah, I have a lot of it. I didn't have Super Nintendo growing up, but I do have lots of memories playing this on Super Nintendo, whether it's like at a friend's house or like my parents used to drop me off at this place called Kids Play, which was like just like a pay by the hour daycare, and they used to have a SNES, and I remember playing this game, just random memory. So I definitely rank it higher because I do have that sort of nostalgia, and I do stand by the fact that like the marketing of this game is like super cool. Like when I was a kid, it was like, ooh, the lost levels. Like like it sounded like mysterious and like, oh,
Yeah, it is a cool marketing
this
trick for
is
sure.
this is the game Nintendo doesn't want you to play. Like something like something like that. And um I I find it interesting that even like on the wiki page, they bring up like the reason why this isn't brought over to the West is because of like the difficulty issue, whereas like we totally just breeze past the fact that like this game is fundamentally broken. It it does things should have been that should have been fixed in the second game that wasn't fixed yet. And it led to Super Mario Brothers 2, the US version, which is an
Mhm.
extremely innovative game. It's an extremely innovative platforming game, Super Mario Brothers 2, the other one. So
Yeah,
I
it's a
find it,
Yeah,
huge Super Mario Brothers USA, as it's known in Japan.
yeah. So
yeah.
I just find
I
it
mean, I'm
interesting.
glad we got both,
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
it does have that cool, like, especially when it came out, because it's not like now where you could just look it up online when people always go, never before seen footage that you can easily find on YouTube. Like at the time, it was kind of like, oh, this has never been over here, so it's a big
Yeah.
deal.
yeah. I just think that like that was one of the reasons, but it's not the only reason because there is just a lot of issues with this game, not just the fact that it's difficult. And also, I've seen videos of people in Japan playing video games in the 80s. Not all of you guys were good at video games. Not all of them were good. So like I just think that like I wonder if Nintendo was like our approach to making a game more difficult for people who love Super Mario Brothers 1. That was okay, but let's
Mm.
try something different now that we can expand this franchise. So, anyways, this is number 21 on my list.
Ooh, that's pretty
When
high.
Oh, wow.
when when Kevin and I ranked 2D Mario games, this was a tier B. I think in reality it's probably tier C, but for me it would be tier B because I do like this game quite a bit. Whereas I ranked the US Super Mario Brothers 2 tier A, or I think we did tier S
Yeah,
actually. I think we might have done S tier because me and you, Kevin, we really like that game.
I feel like
Yeah,
all three of us
that's one
put
of
it
my
high,
favorite Marios still.
Yeah, yeah. So Kevin, how about you?
especially because nothing from it comes back. So
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
think I had the hot take in that episode where I revealed I like two Super Mario Bros. 2 more than I like 3, but not more than I like Super Mario World. Anyway, we're not going to redo that whole conversation. I ranked it at number, let me see here, number 61.
okay,
So that's it's towards the middle of my list because I'm at over 100 games now. And it puts it basically below Killer Instinct for Super Nintendo and right above Excite Bike 64. Um,
that's fair.
it's it's in that range of game that like, yeah, I'll probably play this again someday. But I'm not going to spend 60 hours playing it. You know what I mean? So it's that
I spent a good, afternoon or two trying to get past that point, but I just can't. So
yeah.
yeah,
Well, the rewind feature probably really helps on NSO. So
right.
this is probably the definitive way to play it.
Oh, last thing. Do you guys remember Super Mario Frustration? It was one of the
no.
OG. It was one of the OG viral YouTube videos, and it's a man.
Vaguely.
This is from like 2007. It's a man that's playing a really old Super Mario Brothers ROM hack. Like this is before I even knew what ROM hacks were, and so many of my friends thought that this was Lost Levels because it's just like the most impossible Mario ROM hack you've ever seen. Um,
Oh, I
but
see those videos
but
from
it's
like
not.
Mario Maker videos all the
Yeah.
time. Those
Exactly.
levels are crazy.
Exactly. Before we had Mario Maker, there was Super Mario Frustration, and when I mean, 17 years ago, I didn't even know people could make fan-made NES games. So yeah. I'd recommend this game to any Mario fan, honestly. I should probably end with that. Lost Levels is definitely something that everybody that's interested in the history of Mario should play at least once. At least try it, I think. You
Yeah,
you
I say
agree?
Mhm.
give it a go.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the next game, the Game Boy Advance release of A Link to the Past. We already gave our thoughts on A Link to the Past, but this one has 4 swords attached to it. And I think it's really cool that, like, I remember at the time this came out, the concept was confusing to me, but now I can kind of look at it as the first time Nintendo did a Bowser's Fury, basically. Um,
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
unless if Bowser's Fury had to be played multiplayer, so it's still a little different. But
Yeah, so I didn't rank this one because I couldn't get anybody to play with, so I don't know what Four Swords is like, but I'm guessing I didn't miss much.
Yeah,
it's
that was my issue
a
too.
co-op game.
Yeah. But is
Go ahead,
it
Harrison.
Yeah, yeah, like I didn't have anyone to play with either, so I did rank it, but I guess I had more questions than anything. Like, um, is one, does it feel like a Zelda game? And two, like, is this a good multiplayer game, or is it going to cause more frustration than anything else? Um, because I can imagine like playing this game with someone who doesn't play these games and being like, no, just step on it. Just you got to hit the thing, like just like that. So I guess does it feel like a Zelda game to you, Kevin?
The Four Swords part, no, I've never really been a fan of any of the Four Swords games. They did the GameCube game, which was basically like one where you didn't have to have a bunch of link cables to play with people,
Right.
and some of them have solo campaigns. You can include Triforce Heroes in there too. It's I've never been a fan of these games. I know that there's definitely a community for it, and there's people who love them. I'm just not part of that community. Um,
I
and
think the one thing I like about it is just picturing back in the day 4 people linking their Game Boys to play it.
Hmm.
But
I saw a video where somebody linked 4 GameCubes with the Super Game
oh
Boy
yeah.
adapter. It was like the title of the video said it was something like a $15,000 setup or something because those things are so expensive now. Um, to get all the carts and all the GameCubes and all the I think the Game Boy player is like expensive.
Yeah,
I'm
speaking
sure
of,
now,
yeah,
especially.
it was expensive. It was expensive back in the day too. But like, speaking of which, is there a best way to play Link to the Past, or is it just preference?
That's what I was gonna go over with my ranking. I'm struggling where I want to rank this one right now. I'm trying to think, and it the Super Nintendo version is still the best way to play,
Yeah.
or like any emulated version thereof. Like you know, if you're playing it on NSO or whatever. But this version it does have differences. Like the screens aren't as full. It's a little bit more zoomed in. And there's just like little teeny differences here and there. Nothing that makes it a bad game, nothing that breaks it, like in my opinion, some of those new Super Mario Brothers Game Boy Advance games, not new Super Mario Brothers, but you know what I mean, the Game Boy Advance,
Oh, Mario Advance, yeah.
yeah, the Mario Advance series. It's not broken like that. So it's still a perfectly fine way to play A Link to the Past, but I think it is for sure not as good as the original release. So I'm just struggling where I want to rank that because A Link to the Past right now is my number one game.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to say like, okay, this is a different version of your number one game, but how much can you but they're both on the same service. So if I'm looking at it like, okay, if I'm booting up this service, what do I want to play? Well, I'm always going to play the Super Nintendo version of A Link to the Past, unless
Right.
out of some curiosity factor. So I guess that puts it somewhere again down towards. I'm gonna put it right here at number 39. That puts it below Game Boy's Return to Samus and above Donkey Kong Country 3. Um, Kind of an arbitrary, just felt like it belongs here ranking based on the fact that, like I said, I will always boot up that original version over this one. But it's also in a section of games where it's like I still enjoy these games.
Yeah, and I put this at 22. It's by far the lowest Zelda game on my list, and it feels correct with other games that are close by it. I guess recommendations would be um, if you have friends that are Zelda fans, because I wouldn't recommend it unless you want to do it multiplayer. And in
Yeah.
that case, let's say you have like your girlfriend or your best friend, or you have 3 other people who like Zelda and they never played these games. You might want to check it out. I do have friends that have definitely enjoyed these games and enjoyed them back in the day. The last thing that I'll say, and I was gonna frame it as a question, but I'm just gonna jump over it. Zelda needs more multiplayer games, and I so wish that there is a mod for it. But I so wish that Breath of the Wild had multiplayer, just to
Yeah,
I
I wouldn't be
yeah, I
surprised if
agree
they
with
dip their
you
toes into that soon. It looks like they're
'cause
getting ready
I
to be
think
experimental
yeah.
with Echoes of Wisdom.
yeah, I would love if the next one of those games is Link and Zelda teamed up
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
for
it's
sure.
multiplayer because I think it would work really well.
yeah.
I'll
I mean,
be honest, I definitely had that thought while playing it because I'm always looking for games I can play with my wife. And I was like, when I played Echoes of Wisdom, I was like, oh, it's a shame that like someone can't just play as like, even if it's like an Echo version of Link, it would be pretty
Yeah.
cool. Like kind of like Guigi in Luigi's
Yep.
Mansion 3 or something.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I would take any Zelda game, but more specifically, like something more like along the lines of Breath of the Wild, because I would just love like I could even have like my wife like play with me and just be like, hey, come on this adventure. when the baddies show up, I'll get it. like when the bad guys show up, I'll take care of it. When the puzzles show up, I'll do it. Just like have fun riding your horse or something like that, you know? So my question was going to be, do we need more multiplayer Zelda? But it's rhetorical. We do, I think.
Yes, for sure. And then last up for our wrap up here is Golden Axe. We reviewed Golden Axe 2 already, and had we been pairing games at the time, I know we definitely would have put this one in there. So, in my opinion, Golden Axe is better than Golden Axe 2. It's a shorter game, but it seems like it's more focused. And I did check out some listicles this week that was like every Golden Axe game ranked, and it's a lot more Golden Axe games than I thought. I thought I
Yeah,
only knew of the three. Um,
supposedly it's coming back soon.
yeah, but as far as these two games go, I like the first one more. It just feels a little more focused, and I like that it's a little bit shorter. What did you guys think?
I'm reverse. I still prefer 2 over the original
Yeah.
because I didn't realize the original game has a beginner mode, and I still couldn't get very far at even it being,
Yeah.
the easy mode. But I don't know, it's just the gameplay is a little too slow for me in the original game. Not that it's like light years ahead in the next game, but that was just kind of my experience with it. So I put it down at number 60. So Golden Axe 2 is 53. So I mean they're not that far apart, but I kind of preferred the second one.
Ye-
Okay,
Right.
Harrison.
And I said, there's three characters. The attributes, the skills are pretty straightforward, pretty simple. And I just I wasn't too sure what the first game does better than the second game. Um, I
Hmm.
did think that it looks really rough graphically,
Yeah.
but then I did start thinking about like if I saw this in an arcade when it first came out, it would probably be like one of the best looking beat 'em up games of that time. You might disagree, I don't know. But um, I enjoyed it. But I have trouble differentiating between one and two. I'm gonna put this at 62 on my list. Golden Axe 2 was 56, or wherever it was. It's currently 56 on the list.
I feel like 2 might be a
Yeah,
little more vibrant color wise because those early Sega games were kind of muted.
yeah. I mean, Kevin, what do you think? Is there something that one does better than two? And it's close. I mean,
Um,
to me, it's close.
yeah, I don't know if it necessarily does it better. It's just like um they both have a good soundtrack. But I think the pacing in 2, there's just something I like more in the first game. Like it's like I don't know, it stops you for like those areas where they drop the items and like it not not as well as it does it in the first game. I don't know. I can't use my words here, but I guess it's level design. Like the level design feels better in the first game. And it, that's probably just maybe it's just pure nostalgia. I don't know, but I just know I would always rather play the first one over the second one. They're not too far apart in my ranking. I have them bookending the Game Boy Advance Mario games. So Golden Axe is number 70, where is it? 71. And then we've got Game Boy Advance Mario games, and then Golden Axe 2 is number 75.
Okay.
So we'll see if 3 ever gets on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know 3 is a very big, disappointment for people who like the franchise, and I don't think it had a North American release. I was looking into it really quick this week. I could be wrong about that, but yeah, I know it's considered not that great.
Well, we were all pretty close in the comparison,
Mhm.
like 70, 75, 56, 62.
I'd
So,
say we're usually pretty close on most stuff, just the occasional oddball things. So
Yeah.
So now I think we can have our Nintendo therapy sessions. Those are the rankings there. Let us know what you think if you want down below on YouTube or email us your thoughts, nintendotherapypod@gmail.com. But now we're going to have a therapy session, just airing out our Nintendo thoughts for the week. So I'll jump right in first. There's two things I really wanted to talk about, and one is an uplifting thought where I was thinking this week about how Nintendo fans, you're just the best. Like, anytime I have ever had to reach out on Reddit or somewhere on the internet for some sort of Nintendo exchange, it's always been delightful. Like every time I've always had to like trade a Pokemon to try to complete my Pokedex. Like not only do I get the one I'm asking for, but they'll like send the Pokemon over like holding like a master ball or something like something like that. Like um or they'll give you a shiny version of the one you were looking for. Like they always go a little extra. This week I for the first time used dodo codes in Animal Crossing and started getting some stuff for my island, and everything I was getting, they were just giving me more and more than I was asking for. So that was just something that warmed my heart, that I was like, "Oh, I'm so glad that every time I do this it seems like people are just like enthusiastic to help another player, you know?"
Yeah, it's a really great community, and I guess that goes to the positive end of there being no voice chat easily
Yes.
accessible on the Switch. So
For sure. And I kind of like that about Animal Crossing. Like, I wouldn't want to hear voice chat of like, you go to someone's island and like, oh, come here, check this out. I want to show you. So what I was trying to do here, I like when they just take you over to the area and they do the little emoji thing, and then you clap. You have your character clap for them, and it's just like there's something so adorable about it you would not get with voice chat. Not saying that there's not a place for voice chat. Some games definitely need it, but a game
yeah,
like Animal Crossing, I feel like it's better suited this way.
Yeah,
no, I
they
agree.
need to fix their text chat, but I don't think Nintendo is ever going to do full voice chat. And that's why we have Discord. You know,
Yep.
if I wanted to voice chat with somebody over Animal Crossing, I would just say hop on Discord, and do it that way. Because like on Animal Crossing, you have the Nintendo app, which you can text
Mhm.
through into the game, and it's super goofy. It's just like it feels like one of those technologies that shouldn't exist. Um,
Nintendo's like the one company that wants to have like an extra peripheral at all times that does one thing.
they want to be
So they're
different.
like, "Oh, there's phones now, so
Yeah,
we'll use the phone, and that'll be the communication thing because it's a phone."
yeah,
And it's like, you could just put it in the system, but okay.
yeah. We see this with lots of companies um, that they need to constantly be innovative, but
Mm.
throughout the innovation, sometimes you get just trying to be different, and sometimes the difference is not innovation, it's just being more different and more difficult in that sense. So with the good comes the bad. Um, Thinking about like the Pokemon trading card game right now, they've been very co- uh, they've obviously thought a lot about how they want their players to communicate together, because all you can do is like send a little thank you thing. Like you can't chat with them, you can't do anything beyond that. So
They
it's
were
obviously
cracking down on usernames, which
oh, I
made me
saw
think of like the classic Simpsons bit where Bart prank calls Mo at the bar, and it's like that's the Game Freak employees going through everybody's username like Amanda Hug and Kiss. No.
yeah,
You can't use that.
I saw one out during the event the other day. I saw one that I'm pretty sure is going to get banned at some point. It's not like deliberate, but it's like it's obvious that's something that should not be. It's not appropriate. Is all. It was very
Okay.
funny. I'm like, ah, you're probably gonna lose your name at some point. Yeah.
I don't
Uh,
even read the names to tell you the truth. I look at what level the player is and try to guess how good their cards are going to be based off that.
I'm almost never playing against someone with um with like Latin English characters, like because I'm
That
usually play
too. That
because
too. Yeah.
I'm because you know you're probably the same because you do third shift. It's
Yeah.
usually like afternoon in Japan, so I'm usually playing with people over there, or I don't know if they have it in China. I don't know if they have that, but but yeah. Um,
It's funny
So
because the one time I've ever, beaten somebody online and from Japan was like one round of Street Fighter 2, and just once, and I'm like, oh my god, I won, and then I get destroyed the whole rest of the time.
yeah. Online play is just not my vibe. It's just like because I always want to be like super courteous, and I'm always like, oh, they're waiting for me to do something, and like it's just I would much prefer to like play against a computer where I'm like pause like let me
Yeah,
yeah.
let me go to the kitchen, come back, let me like fix let me fix something, let me get a snack or something, but like
Well, I just auto play all the computer matches at this point in Pokemon trading card game. Like I just auto do them until I get my victories, and
like
like that's how I finished the Venusaur event. Is I eventually got a deck where I could just auto play and win like I don't know 30-40% of the time. So, yeah.
yeah. I have a couple rumors for you guys, but I also have a fun segment that's not going to take too long. Um,
Okay, go ahead.
I'll throw that to you guys. So my fun segment for this week, and this is stolen from Woodhawker from Beat 'em Ups on YouTube, but it's too good for me not to talk about because I've been thinking about it a lot. So here's what the segment is: why the Switch 2 needs to launch with Elden Ring. It needs to happen. It needs to be a thing. Reason number one, Switch 2 needs to show off its capability. If you can remember during the initial Switch 1 trailers, they were showing off Skyrim a lot. And like you can play Skyrim. Handheld, you can play it here, you can play it there. Look, here's a Zelda shield. You can get these different cosmetics, if you haven't played this game yet in the last 5 years. Uh, Leads me to
do
my
you just
next.
want Elden Ring for Zelda stuff?
R- Right, right. So reason number two, it will give Nintendo a chance to release new cosmetics similar to Zelda and
Oh,
Skyrim. So like,
I didn't know you had it on there.
yeah, that's
Okay.
reason number two. And Elden Ring would greatly benefit from that player base. No doubt, like tons of people have Switch now. Tons of people are gonna have Switch 2. Lots of people that play Switch don't play games like Elden Ring. And Elden Ring just released new DLC that we talked about before the show. And they could really, Nintendo and the game could very much benefit from it. Number three, while I think there's going to be a lot of big games to come to Switch 2. I mean, we're talking GTA, we're talking Cyberpunk, Alan Wake. What else did I write down? Baldur's Gate. I think those are all coming to the next system, but
Was Switch the first time they really started having the GTA games back? I think it is. I don't think they
Yeah,
were
yeah,
on. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it was.
Game Boy
And at this
DS, I
point,
think.
they could probably have GTA 5 on Switch, but I think we'll see GTA 5 on Switch 2, and we will not
Hmm.
see GTA 6 on Switch 2. Which I'm actually,
No.
I'm actually, I think I would be more happy if we don't see GTA 6 on Switch 2 because I do want
Yeah,
to see
because
it
that
like
game needs to
next.
sell itself as something that needs to be on a more powerful system. Like
Yeah,
that's
Yeah,
part of
especially.
its marketing before it's even started its marketing.
right. And my last reason is that there's tons of parallels between the Switch having Skyrim and Skyrim released in November, so it didn't release on the launch date. And there would be a parallel between that and Switch 2 having Elden Ring, and Skyrim. I mean, I think it is perfect. You could release a single copy and then a copy that has the DLC included with it. We'll get some Zelda shields, maybe get some Mario cosmetics in it. I think it needs to happen. I think the Switch needs to have a launch title that is going to show off the capability of this game and show that other big games that we didn't get are now coming. So pick up this new device because you can play these games now and you can play them handheld. Do you guys agree?
So that leads me to this question because you and I like these types of games. So Kevin, Elden Ring is a launch title on the next system. Does that get you to give something like that a shot, or is that still irrelevant?
I mean, maybe. The thing with me is I have so many franchises I follow, and I'm such a like all in type of person that like it's hard for me to add any new franchises to the list. You know, I was just telling you the other day how I need to stop buying everything Nintendo releases. Um,
Mhm.
Jumping ahead in your thing, Harrison, I was talking to Shawn about the rumored Kirby game that might be coming, Kirby and Roboland, and I was looking up footage of Kirby and Roboland on YouTube, and then I just like had to say to myself, like, Kevin, you can't buy everything Nintendo releases. You don't need this game.
Yeah.
Um, so that's a problem. It would depend on where it falls in my gaming library. Because I remember when the Switch launched, I was looking for things to play. Like I had obviously Breath of the Wild at launch, but as far as like a secondary or third game to play on the system, I was like looking for something, you know? So if that's the case, which I don't think it's going to be when the Switch 2 launches, if I'm looking for something to play, yeah, absolutely. I'd give it a shot.
Okay, I was just curious because for me, it will be hard to double dip and get it just to have the portability.
Right.
Mhm.
So
On
for me,
sale,
that's a tough sell.
30% off?
Eh, I, Elden Ring's a gigantic game, Harrison. Like,
Yeah.
I get, I mean, I'm just asking because like there are I'd say about 5 games that I have on Switch that I got after I bought it on a different system. That's all. That's all. But like I'm saying
yeah, I have a
like you
few.
have Skyrim, right? You have Skyrim, so
Yeah, I was gonna say if you guys want to segue into one of my things, it kind of works perfectly. Unless we get anything else on
no,
Elden
go
Ring
ahead.
on which so I got Stray this week because the physical copy came out and I completely forgot about it, but I wanted to play it. And I was going through my physical games, and most of them I have are just ports of things that are supposedly better on other systems. I was just curious, do you guys still buy physical games at all?
Not for Switch. For the other systems, I do. But the only reason I went all digital on my Switch is nothing against physical games. It's that like in my mind, I'm just like, well, if I'm gonna have a portable system, I want my whole library to travel with me. So
Okay.
that's basically the reason I went all digital for my Switch. But for my PlayStation 5, I buy physical games still.
Yeah. And for
What
me,
about you, Harrison?
it's exactly what I can hold up on the screen. I have 5.
That's it?
I yeah,
Okay.
I have 5, and I'll list them off real quick. I have Special Edition Witcher 3, haven't played. I have
Okay.
Splatoon 3, never play it. I have Pokemon Violet because I thought I'd get it physical for some reason, I don't know. Animal Crossing, which is
Yeah.
the only one I wanted physical, and I got it midnight release, and then uh 3D collection because I was told this was going to be
It
worth
was gonna be hard to
it was
find.
going to be
Yeah.
worth like tons of money one day, but then I see it at like Walmart, like
I
just
I see it at stores all the time
like all
now,
the
and I'm
time,
like,
right?
"Wow, you guys really
Here's
get
the
us to
thing
buy
Nintendo
that."
needs to do if they want to increase their physical sales, I think. Maybe I'm alone on this, but for the Switch 2, please, Nintendo, design better cases. I hate the look of the all red Switch spines lined up in a row.
Okay.
Like, I just don't like it at all. Go back to having artwork on the side or something. I don't know.
Game
Might be an old man
manuals.
complaint, but I don't like it.
Game
So
manuals.
that leads to my
Yeah,
other
game manuals too.
question. So if you guys couldn't have your digital libraries for a year and you just had your physicals, is that a good year for you on Switch? Is that a rough year? How's that look?
It's
Oh,
rough, but it's fine. Because like all
Well,
five,
you've got Animal Crossing, so
right,
you're all set.
all five games physical that I have on Switch are games that you can replay a lot and games that are long. Like Witcher 3 is very long, you can replay it. Splatoon
Yeah, yeah.
you can play Splatoon over and over. I could play Animal Crossing every day. I could play Pokemon every day. I would not be happy about it because like I just wouldn't be happy but because like I don't like because I'm assuming we're saying I can't go out and like it's the games that I have
I'm saying
now.
like your digital library's locked for a year,
Yeah,
so
like if I can't play
all you've got.
like if I can't play Stardew for a year, I'm gonna be mad. For
See,
sure.
I thought that would be one you'd have physically because I know it had a release.
I never picked it up because I can't find out where I live, and I've bought
That's
it
fair.
and I've bought it digital 3 times. Um,
Okay.
not that I
I
wouldn't
have
buy it,
3.
not that I wouldn't buy it physical, but
So
yeah,
you just have your launch stuff?
and then I've been looking over at my Steam Deck, going, well, I can't play Steam Deck for a year,
Okay.
so yeah, I think I could easily do it because I think if I had to, I could pick 3 games and play it for a year.
Okay.
If somebody had a gun and was like, play 3 games for the next year, or I'm gonna shoot you. I don't know why. I don't know why they would do
So
that.
that's all you have, Kevin, is 3.
I have 3 before I made the decision to just go all digital. I have Breath of the Wild that I got with the launch of the Switch. I have Mario Kart 8 because you're required to have it by law.
Right. That's legal.
And I have Mario Odyssey. And Mario Odyssey was the straw that broke the camel's back there, where I think I was playing that in conjunction with Breath of the Wild, and I got sick of getting up to change the tab over and over again. So like at that point I was like, you know what? This is a portable system. Every game I buy from here on out for Switch is going to be digital, and I never looked back. But like I said, no other systems. Just like if my PlayStation 5 was portable, it'd be a different story, but it's not. And no, I don't have the little, I forget what the
Portal,
attachment thing's called.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
like
don't
the
have the
portal.
$200. Yeah.
and I'm
So
not
I'm the
gonna.
only one who's having an okay year then with just his physical Switch games, pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah. I mean, it'd be fine. Like it would be
Yeah, I can play
perfectly.
Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey all year.
Yeah,
No problem.
like if you gave me Animal Crossing and Pokemon and said this is it for a year, um, yeah, I could do it.
So I just have more variety.
I'm probably gonna be doing other things wherein I would have been gaming.
Okay.
But yeah, I would just look at it and say, okay, like just don't look at all the other games that are gonna come out this next year because yeah, I've given up on the backlog thing. Whatever.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, just because it's
I'm
like
just wish listing stuff and
yeah.
if I can find it on sale. So I'll just go through them quick, just if you guys care. But so I got Cuphead physically, Dead Cells, Demon Throttle, but that's the one you can only get physical. So that's kind of cool. Kingdom Come Deliverance, which I haven't played. Mario Party Superstars, because I don't like the Joy-Con specific ones. I have tried Jamboree, but it still does a little too much of that. Minecraft, No Man's Sky, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. I think I got on sale, so I get it physically instead of digitally. Sifu, Stray, Subnautica Below Zero, the Cowabunga Collection, Skyrim, and then Unicorn Overlord.
Yeah,
So I mean,
those are all just killer games.
it's a weird mix, and I've thought it was funny. I don't buy like first party as much, but no, I was just curious because like I said, I just randomly was like, oh yeah, Stray's out physically. I wanted to play that. Let me go get it. So
When when you
That's all I had.
play it, come back on here and talk about it because that is
Oh
just
yeah. I'm really looking forward to
that
it
is an
because it looked
awesome,
cool.
awesome game. And the port turned out pretty good. It looks like. I was
Yeah,
worried.
and I've played Ashen, I think that developer did, which I haven't beaten. I get to a point and get stuck, so I'll go back to it. But I enjoyed that as like a Dark Souls type thing. But this looks like it's a whole different, kind of adventure game almost. So that looks really fun to me.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. It's not a very long game, but I think you'll see why it was. I think it was the token indie game that gets nominated for Game of the Year, but I think it also won Indie of the Year last year as well. Um, it's beautiful. It's a very cool idea. Um,
Yeah.
and the only sad part's in the beginning because you are a stray cat.
Okay. Okay.
There is that sad part about that you're a stray cat in the city. Uh,
So that's my old man take. Still getting my physical media.
uh, Kevin, you mentioned it, and I do want to say the title. It's a Kirby Planet Robobot. Just in case, for the listeners.
Okay.
So
Yeah, rumored to be coming to Switch.
Right. Nate the Hate, on his podcast, who we've talked about on here before. According to him, he says Planet Robobot, which is apparently the best 3DS Kirby game. Okay, is coming to
Out of the
Switch.
what,
Coming
40
to
of them?
Yeah, like three, I think. Coming to Switch next year. No saying on this if this is going to be multi-platform like Switch and Switch 2. There is no mention on if there's going to be amiibo support for this game either.
Probably
No.
not.
So,
Okay.
If I had to
um,
put money on it, I
yeah,
would say it's going to be exactly like Luigi's Mansion 2, where they just give it a little
Probably.
bit of a facelift
yeah.
and put it on there to the point where I'm not good at computers enough to know this, but apparently people on the internet are enough to know that they basically are using like the original source code on Luigi's Mansion 2's remake. Like it's like literally like they just kind of upresed the game and released it. So yeah, they're probably just going to do that.
Do you think
Yes.
this is just like the told people over stuff now is just finding the 3DS stuff that hasn't been moved?
Yeah.
It's easy money.
Yeah, it's easy money, and
Sure.
and I'm just not sure about the order because it is Kirby. So like, because I was thinking like, well, like, what if they released like the DS Kirby games first, and then like 3DS, and then But then I was thinking it probably really just doesn't matter, and
Yeah.
I wonder if like beginning next year in this new life cycle, if we start seeing remasters ports with no real like order, like perhaps like we get in a 6 month time we get DS, 3DS, and Wii ports, like just
Yeah,
kind of
because I
all
mean,
thrown in there.
Donkey Kong Returns is a Wii game, and it's pretty old, so that was just kind of a here, stop asking for a Donkey Kong game. So yeah, I don't think there is much logic in what systems they're going with.
Yeah. But so you guys haven't played it from what I've heard, and the game certainly looks cute. It's not a game that I think I'll pick up. I haven't actually bought any Kirby games for
I just have
Switch.
Forgotten Land,
For,
which is
Forgotten Land,
really
I played
good.
the demo and decided that it wasn't going to be a $60 game for me. Have you played it? Forgotten Land?
Oh yeah, I own it. That's one of the ones
But
that
have you
I
played it?
Have you played it?
oh, I've played it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've played it. I beat it. I still think that's one of the best games on the system, but that's probably the best normal Kirby game because I mean it's not better than Dream Course. Nothing ever will be.
Uh,
But uh, if you're looking for a really good platforming Kirby, yeah, that especially if that goes on sale, highly recommend grabbing it.
cool. Yeah, I'm sure I probably will. Because it has the post-apocalyptic thing going
Yeah,
on that,
yeah,
that
it's
I'm a
some like
huge fan of.
real world stuff that makes it a little more interesting, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Well. I hate to do the Breath of the Wild thing, but it reminded me of like Hyrule, like like in that sense where it's like calm, post-apocalyptic. It does relate to real life in that way. My my other kind of rumor is that Satisfy, who makes the Satisfy grips, is already starting pre-orders for a new Satisfy. They call it a Zen grip, the Zen Grip 2, and you can do pre-orders for it. And the launch is they're expecting the launch to be spring of 2025, according to their website. They have mock up pictures on there already, but there's really no saying what it's going to look like. I find it interesting that they're already making accessories on supposed prototypes that we have but have not been confirmed. But at the same time, I'm 100% not surprised in the least bit that companies, even as big as Satisfy, are starting to gauge their consumers on how much interest there is. Is this surprising to either of you?
No, I feel like now, especially, maybe they've got a better idea of what's coming, but I feel like if you're not a 3D printing person on the internet, you're a legit company in the industry, it probably makes a lot of sense to be like, hey, so the current one's probably going to be the highest selling system of all time. So there's going to be a pretty big install base. And there are certain things that people have consistently said, because I'm sure there's still going to be like issues with this next system as far as how Nintendo rolls out the functions. So there's always a market, I think, for that stuff.
Kevin, how about you?
Yeah, I don't know if these are compatible with any other type of tablet or anything like that, but I've been seeing more recent rumors that say the system might be scheduled for July. So who knows? We've really got no idea. Just because they're putting their accessory out doesn't mean the system will be out. So um yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. I'm sure they know what the measurements are going to be if that's what we're using this as a scoop for. But other than that, I don't know.
The protective language is there, as in like it's supposed to launch in spring of 2025. So if you pre-order it, um, there's no saying when you're going to get it. You're just going to get it eventually, and we
Yeah.
assume that eventually that means sometime next year. So they're clearly protecting themselves, and like they're clearly like they're showing pictures, but everything can change very quickly. But yeah, I'm sure they're getting enough interest in it, because I'm sure there's plenty of people that are getting impatient, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna start, I'm gonna order this so I can like have the feeling that I'm like
Yeah.
closer to
Get
that
ahead.
to that
Get that
point.
quick hit.
Yeah,
That quick dopamine hit.
when the Switch 2 drops, I'm gonna be ready. No one else is gonna be
Yeah.
ready
Yeah.
for it. Yeah.
I'm going to have all my accessories and my little rubbery grippy things.
What are you guys gonna do? Go out to Best Buy and buy it day one? No. Buying day one? I don't think so. That's all I got.
All
That's
right.
all I got.
So let's figure out what we are going to be spotlighting next week.
Ooh, is it random? Yeah.
Still random. So we've got a batch of games here yet again. I don't think it's going to take as much time to cover them, but we are covering the remaining NES Donkey Kong games. Donkey Kong,
Oh boy.
You know what? In celebration of Donkey Kong Land, let's act like we did this on purpose. um,
Totally
uh,
planned.
NES Donkey Kong, NES Donkey Kong 3. So we must have covered 2. And NES Donkey Kong Junior Math.
Because, When I think Donkey Kong, I think adding. So
So those will be some quick bites for next week, all paired together. Does anybody else have anything left to say this week?
Episode
I was just
100.
gonna say I've been digging the Wave Race music on the app. They definitely are doing their typical Nintendo. Here's one thing a week, but I haven't stopped listening to Wave Race, so I'm glad it's on there.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I gave my takes on that music app the 1 week that I was alone. I totally forgot about
Yes, you did.
about the music app. Yeah. Okay.
It's
Okay,
good,
well,
but it needs a lot more to be great.
thank everybody for listening. Thank you for watching. If you were on YouTube, you can email us at nintendotherapypod@gmail.com. You can comment down below on YouTube. You can also comment on Spotify now. Just remember, we're Nintendo fans, not Nintendo experts. So if we got anything wrong, try to be kind. And we will be back next week with some Donkey Kong on the Nintendo Entertainment System. See you then.